Hi, in today's video I'm going to show you how to use Newsboat to subscribe to YouTube RSS feeds and then send the links to Kodi and play them. So basically what I'll do is I'll come across into Newsboat here and open up this RSS feed which got a series of videos in it, and then I'll come across into the actual article. I'll press the keyboard shortcut I've defined to execute the script and send this link to Kodi. So I'll press comma dot and I'll switch across to Kodi.
President-elect Joe Biden is moving ahead with...
And you can see that's playing the video there. So let's have a look at how this works. So first of all, we've got some YouTube RSS feeds. So let's check this one, see if this one works from DistroTube. And sometimes you get this little pop-up message saying resume playback. Let's try that again. There you go.
As 2020 winds to a close.
So Kodi does have a an issue where if you play a video that's got the same name that you played before, it's going to ask if you want to resume playback. There is a bit of code in the script I wrote that uses the Kodi JSON API, which is supposed to disable that, but it doesn't always work. So sometimes you've got to click once or twice. But let's get into how this actually works. So basically, first of all, we've got the YouTube RSS feeds. So what I'm going to do is come across to the Newsboat configuration file, and what we can do is actually define external browsers for Newsboat, which we can execute with a keyboard shortcut that we've defined. So first of all, I define the default browser, which is W3M, a command line browser. And next I've got a keyboard shortcut to open links in MPV player. And the new one I set up down here is a keyboard shortcut that runs the yank script, which contains YouTube DL to extract the link, and then the Kodi send command line program send that link to Kodi. What we do is we define a macro, which is a keyboard shortcut we're going to run. So this keyboard shortcut is going to be comma and then dot. Then what we do is define the browser, which is actually just the path to the script. So we put in the full path to the yank script with the -i option, and the %u option is a variable from Newsboat, which is actually the URL. What it's then going to do is actually going to open that link in the browser, which is the script, and then after that it resets the browser back to the W3M command line browser. So if I come into the URLs and just give you a look at what some of these links look like. Basically in YouTube you have these sort of like feeds you can get for a channel. So you can either get a channel IDs feed, or you can actually get a playlist feed. So it does take a little bit of effort to actually extract the channel or the playlist from YouTube, but you can have a look at how you can do that on YouTube. There'll be some videos about actually finding the feeds. And once you've done that and put that in your Newsboat directory and named the file URLs, all the URLs will actually show up here for the various YouTube channels you've subscribed to. And then basically it's just a matter of coming in and, as I said, picking a link, pressing the keyboard shortcut. I'll press back to Kodi.
Welcome to another edition of Hey DT.
And you can see that's kicking in and playing. So basically, the two bits of setup are Newsboat, adding the links for the YouTube channels, and the and actually creating the macro. So that's and we define the browser, basically the script we're going to launch, and of course finally the actual script itself. And if I just come down here, basically what it does is the script extracts the YouTube URL containing the video and audio stream, and then uses FFmpeg to analyze that stream, looking for a specific error that prevents Kodi from playing that link. And if it finds that error, basically what it's going to do is it will then use FFmpeg to extract, to grab the separate dash audio and video streams, combine them, and then send the link to Kodi and actually stream those two links together to our local machine, and then play them with Kodi. So basically the script has sort of two functions, one where the link can be played with Kodi after checking it, and it just pings the link across to Kodi using the Kodi send command. And you can see here the no resume option I mentioned, which according to documentation should stop the little dialog box popping up saying do you want to resume playback, but doesn't always work, so sometimes you've got to do it once or twice. And we've got a variable here called IP, which I've shown you in previous videos. Down here, it's a variable that you can change to set the IP address you're sending the command to. So you can send the command to Kodi on localhost, but you can also send the command to Kodi running on another computer on the network by changing the IP address. And so what this would do, for example, it would then send the link to your TV from your laptop. So basically that's the yank script that first of all has some error checking in, can change the IP address, and uses getops to parse the options that you provide to the script, like -i and then the URL, or -h for the help function. As I said, it then grabs the URL, checks it with FFmpeg. If it can play it, it sends it across to Kodi. If it can't, it basically grabs the dash audio and video streams and then combines them with FFmpeg and then streams it across to Kodi. So that's the yank script and big Newsboat. And those are the two configuration files for Newsboat, the config and the URLs. As I've shown you before, the config is where you create the keyboard shortcut to run the script, and then we've got the sort of URLs for various YouTube channels that you're going to want to bring into Newsboat. And this section that says video at the end, you can ignore. That's basically a tag that's used in Newsboat so that you can sort of tag various RSS feeds. So basically all you do is put in the feed that you get from YouTube, the YouTube channel, and you can see you've got basically two format. Hang on, got and zoom in a bit. You've got the two formats. You've got the playlist, which is the playlist ID, and then you have the channel. So let me just see if I can come across and actually open up the browser and show you how that works. See if I can actually grab the URL. So there is a bit of a trick to actually getting the URL. So for instance, DistroTube, we need to get the channel ID. So what you actually have to do is I think view the source and channel ID, and move this across a bit. You can see this section here. Let me just copy this, copy that link, paste it back in here. Okay, so you can see channel ID corresponds to this line down here. This is the DistroTube channel ID. Bloody cursor gone. Sorry. So yeah, this is the link feeds video.xml channel ID equals, and that's basically corresponding to this link here that we got from viewing the source. So what you do is view the source, which is Control U on Firefox. It's usually a similar shortcut, or you can use the developer tools. I think, yeah, page source there. So you view the page source, do a find, which is Control F, search for channel ID. It's going to come up with this href. Basically, just copy that link, and that's the actual link. And we then put that in our Newsboat URLs config, and that's then going to show up in Newsboat. Now, the other one we have is the actual playlist ID. So this is a closer look. So we'll come across if I can grab the playlist. So what you do is you come across into the playlist, and I think I must have got it from somewhere. Here, let's have a look, see if we can just find. It comes up the playlist. Yeah, I can't remember how I got this. How I actually got the playlist for this particular one. But usually, what you do is you actually come into the playlist, and you can see down here playlist. Let's open that. Okay, so you can see this is the playlist. So this section here after question mark list equals, that's the playlist ID, and that's going to correspond to this section here. So for playlist, you're going to have youtube.com feeds video.xml question mark playlist ID equals, and you would then grab the playlist ID up here and then paste that in after that section. So that's the playlist, and again the channel ID, you have to get the channel ID by viewing the source and searching for channel ID and then appending it here. So that's how you get the playlist or the channel. And again, once you've done that and you've created your macros either for MPV player or to send the link to Kodi, you can then just basically come across into this, and let's see if hex DSL works. It would help if I actually had Kodi open. So obviously it's not going to work if you don't have Kodi open. So try that again, keyboard shortcut. And there's hex DSL. So I'll quit that. So that's basically how you can use Newsboat to subscribe to different YouTube RSS feeds for channels or playlists, and then create a macro that you can execute with a keyboard shortcut to either open the video with MPV player or send the link across to Kodi and play the link. And again, this can either be a instance of Kodi running on the same machine or another machine on the network, and all you have to do is change the IP address in the script and make sure that you set up Kodi to you basically need to set up the firewall on the other computer to allow, I think it's port 9777, which is the JSON interface for Kodi, but you might have to double check that. But basically this will then allow you to subscribe to different RSS feeds for YouTube. As soon as the videos come in, you can see, you've got a new video, and you can then come across and come into any of these and then basically execute the keyboard shortcut to send the video across to Kodi. And sometimes you may get the little pop-up saying, do you want to resume playback, even though the script has got the option to disable that. It's basically because all YouTube videos, when you play them, Kodi extracts the title from the URL and it's always video playback. So that confuses Kodi and thinks you've played the video before and want to resume playback. So that's why we use the no resume option in the script to sort of disable that. But as you can see, sometimes it does come up, and if you just run the script again, it will ping the video across. So that's a quick video on setting up Newsboat and kodi, so that you can just subscribe to, RSS feeds for YouTube stuff rather than subscribing in your account. It just means you don't have to, set up a YouTube account and always watch it through your browser. You can basically do it sort of a bit more privately, and basically subscribe to a playlist or a channel and easily play all the links, either in MPV, another video player, or send them across to Kodi. So that's just a little quick tip on subscribing to RSS feeds in YouTube, and using a script and a keyboard shortcut to quickly send the links across to Kodi.